I got my hands on the Exchilerator Maax Counterflow chiller. You want to see more about it? Stick around. Hello everyone and welcome back. A while back, maybe a couple years ago now, I did a series of DIY videos when I was upgrading my homebrew system from a 5-gallon to a 10-gallon system, and one of the components of that was a larger immersion chiller than the one I had for my 5-gallon system, and I got a lot of feedback from people, some comments and statements that I should have just went ahead and upgraded to a counterflow chiller. Well, I had some responses to that. I did another video where I talk about the pros of staying with an immersion chiller, which I still believe, by the way. But I did take a number of your comments to heart, and I said, well, you know, maybe I will pursue the counterflow chiller. If I don't have one, I'll get one and I'll see for myself. Well, between then and now, I got the Grandfather system, as you probably all well know, and it came with its own counterflow chiller that I've been using for also a couple of years now. Now, recently, a company called Exchilerator reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to demo and try out their Maax Counterflow chiller and show it in front of you guys and get my feedback. And I thought that was a good opportunity for me to finally go around and come around to trying the Counterflow Wort chiller on my 10-gallon system. They sent me one for free, and again, this is not a paid product placement. They did not pay me. I'm not a commercial. Of course, they did send me a product for free. Of course, they want to get in front of you viewers, right? But this is my video, my opinion, my way of doing it, and that's how all my videos have been thus far. It wasn't until early April that I had a chance to actually use this thing. I broke out my 10-gallon system and brewed a batch of Bell's Oberon. If you'd like to see how that went, stick around. First, the basics. Their Maax model, they have two models available. This is their Maax model. It has 25 feet of 3/8 OD copper tubing running through it. But they have a number of upgraded options as well. They have a stainless steel coil option, which I'm not sure why you'd want that, but they also have options for extra fittings, valves, add-ons you can buy. You go to the website, you can configure it however you want. You can even add a pump to it if you don't already have one. So I put it together, put the fittings on that I wanted to use with it. I actually have my own garden hose and my other fittings already in place that I use, male-female preferences in terms of external or internal threads. So I went and adapted this thing for my brew system by putting on a female garden hose adapter here, and I put a cam lock fitting on here and a cam lock fitting on here to go with my cam lock fittings on my brew system. So there's a lot of ways to configure it, and this is how I chose to go about doing it. On brew day, when it came time to sanitize this thing, I do what I do with my immersion chiller and other counterflow chillers. I go ahead and run some hot boiling wort through it for about 10 to 15 minutes at the end of the boil. And that part was straightforward. When the boil was over, it was time to chill. I went outside and turned on my garden hose for my chilling water. Right away, I started to realize that having a full-blown flow rate of cold water going through this thing was way too much for what I was trying to do with this thing. They advertised that this thing can cool your wort down in 5 minutes or less for up to 10 gallons, right? I believe it. Of course, I didn't want to go that far. The reason being is that when I turned this chill water on full blast, it was actually cooling the wort below the temperature I wanted to pitch at pretty fast. I was shooting for I think the upper 60-degree Fahrenheit range. It was actually going down into the 50s and dropping quick. So I had to run outside and reduce the water pressure or the flow rate for my garden hose to reduce the chilling water flow rate. Then it started going up, and I had to mess around with the wort flow rate by restricting the valve and opening and closing the valve back and forth between the cold water supply in and the hot, or now the chilled wort out. I had two valves that I had to keep tweaking back and forth to try to maintain the temperature in the upper 60s. This was my first time doing this, so there is some learning curve involved, I'm sure. I'm hoping in the future I'll not have to sit there and babysit this thing. I'll just know which position the ball valves need to go on and how much to turn on my garden hose by. But for now, my first time through, it was trial and error. The reason why I didn't also let it go full bore is that it was my garden hose was spewing a lot of water through this thing. I have pretty good garden hose pressure here, water pressure in my house, and I would have filled so many buckets of water or poured it down in the driveway to my detriment. I'm trying to save water here. Now, this thing can chill in less than 5 minutes. Obviously, I haven't actually tested that theory, but it sure looked like it was going to. But there's a trade-off for expediency, and that's wasted water, right? So I'm trying to save a little bit on water by not using it. I'm trying to minimize my water consumption while optimizing my chilling ability. So what could have taken 5 minutes and a ton of water, I probably compromised in probably about a 10 to 15 minute chill with probably, I think it was five gallon buckets full of water, which isn't too bad for a 10-gallon batch of beer. I do think in the future I am going to try to see how fast I can chill this thing down, but being that I don't need all that extra water this early in the spring for anything, I'm not watering my garden yet, I didn't want to waste the water just now. But in a future video, maybe I'll see what will happen to this thing if I push it to its limit. When brew day was done, it was time to clean up. I hooked it up in line with the rest of my hoses and pump and ran some hot water with some PBW through it for a while. And then I rinsed it once again with about 180-degree water. Probably about now, you're probably wondering what I think of this device as compared to my immersion chiller. Well, here's my answer. I still don't know. I got some more research to do, more brew days ahead of me to come to a definitive conclusion, but it is promising. You can chill the wort pretty quickly with this thing, it appears. But I still have my reservations about the pros and cons of counterflow wort chillers in general versus immersion chillers. That hasn't changed my mind yet, but I also haven't had a chance to drink this beer made with this batch just yet, so that will contribute to my future opinion as well as some more future brew days. I really do want to improve the taste of my beers while at the same time trying to shorten my brew days. So if this works out in such a way that it does do both, I'm in. I mean, come on, 5 minutes from hot wort to fermenter versus 15-20 minutes of that process with an immersion chiller, shaving off that much time. Sounds good to me. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any comments or questions, put them down below in the comment section. Give me that thumbs up, like if you like what I have here to show you. If you're a new viewer and not yet a subscriber, consider subscribing. I do a lot of cooking, home brewing, recipes, DIYs, and equipment reviews like this one. Thanks everyone for your time, and I'll talk to you all later. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out other videos on my YouTube channel, and don't forget to subscribe.